Welcome, everyone, to the International College of Integrative Medicine podcast, translating science to clinical practice since 1983. I'm your host, Luke W. Russell, and today I'm joined by Dr. Tom Wagner. Dr. Wagner, thanks for taking a moment to sit down and chat with me.
You're welcome.
So today you gave a very in-depth presentation in which everyone was it seemed like the attention in the room was rapt. And so could you share briefly, for anyone listening who wasn't here for that, could you briefly give them just kind of maybe a couple key takeaways? I know it's kind of hard to boil all that science down into a couple of key takeaways, but...
Well, what I tried to present was the idea that two things. One, first of all, that we're talking, we are in the age of immuno-oncology. The new and finally standard of care methods for treating cancer is to activate the immune system against it, which is a wonderful movement forward. And to do that, you need to understand our immune system. And so the first thing I wanted to point out was that the reason that cancer exists at all, and the reason that cancer is not naturally attacked by the immune system, is simply because cancer is self. The cells which are cancer cells are your own cells, and our immune system is, I then began to focus on the idea, our immune system has to be tolerant of self. It has to not attack self, otherwise we'd eat ourselves up. And that's the reason that cancer is complex, and that cancer immunotherapy is complex. So I tried to make it understandable that how we actually are able to sort of fool the immune system into looking at cancer not as self but as something foreign. And we do that by actually embedding it in a particle which itself is indeed a pathogen-like material. And sort of like a Trojan horse idea of embedding it inside something very different. My goodness.
No, let's wait just a second.
This is an unusually loud gong. So that's basically what I talked about, the vaccine that we've developed, about the clinical trials we've run with it. Both the clinical trials through the FDA in the United States, specifically on melanoma, and also the fact that we're running clinical trials and treatment center in the Cayman Islands under the British medical system, and there we've treated 19 different types of cancer as well as melanoma.
Yeah. Wow. What are a few things that you'd love for physicians to hear that maybe you didn't have time for in your talk today?
I guess I'd like them, first of all, to understand that there are two aspects to the immune system, or two parts of the immune system, what's called the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. And what everybody is talking about, what they read about in the literature, in the medical literature and such, is all about the adaptive immune system, the T cells and that approach. But what controls those T cells is the innate immune system, and that is the macrophages of the body, and that they are truly more important and more fundamental to tumor immunotherapy than are the T cells. They control the T cells' activity, and it is the sort of partnership between the innate and this partnership between the innate and the adaptive immune system is basically a partnership between the T cell and the macrophage, with the macrophage being the controlling cell. And so it's kind of backwards to the way the field generally thinks about it. They think all their interest is on T cell activation. And I brought up that the cover of a major scientific magazine, Science, had a couple of years ago, breakthrough of the year, cancer immunotherapy, the amazing T cell. Well, it's not the amazing T cell; it's the amazing macrophage that controls that amazing T cell.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
I'll be back in a little bit with more from Dr. Wagner. But first, let's listen to what our executive director, Wendy Chappell, has to say.
Hi, thanks, Luke. The International College of Integrative Medicine is a community of dedicated physicians who advance innovative therapies in integrative medicine by conducting educational conferences, supporting research, and cooperating with other scientific organizations while always promoting the highest standards of practice. That is the mission statement that is going to greet you when you go to our website, www.icimed.com. But there's more. Our founders wrote in our bylaws that they wanted to establish an organization composed of qualified physicians and other qualified healthcare providers who are engaged in the practice of medicine or medical research in emerging, standard, alternative, complementary, and innovative fields of integrative medicine and preventative medicine. They basically were looking for people on every corner of the spectrum to find the research and the practice that worked to help their patients. And we still do that today at every conference, at every conversation, at every discussion that we have about standard of practice. We are trying to find the very best treatments for our patients. Join us at integrativemedicineconference.com and come get to know us at our next meeting.
Now, back to my interview with Dr. Wagner.
Could you share with us a few, one or two stories of just working with your patients and helping them overcome their cancer?
Well, I'm not a treating physician in that sense, but I've become very close to a number of our patients who've been treated by this vaccine therapy. I suppose the one that resides with me the longest is the fourth patient that was ever treated with this vaccine. Was a patient who was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic melanoma with metastasis to brain, liver, colon, as well as the surface skin, and was a patient who was treated, who had a final surgery to try to debulk the tumor the day or two before Christmas in 1999. And after the surgery, talked to her physician or her surgeon and said, basically, how much time do I have left? And he said, and she always talks about it, he said, well, just enjoy Christmas. That's 2 days ago. We vaccinated that woman. We vaccinated her 2 days after Christmas. 2 days after New Year's. And she was the fourth person that received this vaccine in our early experimental stages, before it was the final form we're using now. She was stage 4, less than 3 months of life expectancy. Her goal was to make it to her son's wedding, which was in March. She's alive and well today at pushing, she's at 19 years and counting. She has four grandchildren, and both her son and daughter are married, and she's completely disease-free. But more importantly, we kept some tumor cells from her cancer, and irradiated them so they couldn't no longer divide and grow in the body. And from time to time, we have injected those cells sub-Q in her, and her body gives a massive red inflammation around the area, because her body retains and will retain for the rest of her life memory T cells from the vaccine. That's different about this kind of therapy from standard chemical therapy. When you stop taking chemotherapy or any other kind of chemical therapy or any other kind, even biological therapy that's external, when it's not there anymore, it's not working anymore. That's not true of immunotherapy. So when we activate T cells, we generate what are called memory T cells for the remainder of the life of the patient. And we were able to prove that with her, that she retains in her body nearly 20 years later memory T cells that will target the reoccurrence of that melanoma in her body at any time in the future.
Wow.
And that's part of the reason why, we don't talk about cures in cancer very often. She's one of the few where we might do that now, and it's because of that memory T cell that's associated with immunotherapy that is a continuous surveillance over the body for the reoccurrence of the disease. Yeah.
Wow. So what's next for you?
Well, what we're doing now is the vaccine is fairly effective when you remove the bulk tumor surgically or by other means with a reasonably healthy patient, and then you vaccinate them, therapeutically vaccinate them. It can be pretty effective, particularly in combination with some of these checkpoint inhibitors.
Mm-hmm.
But if the patient has a substantially sized bulk tumor, those bulk tumors can resist the immune system by means that are very complex and not fully understood. So all of our work now is focused on trying to change the milieu and the cellular makeup of the tumor, not of tumor cells. There are other immune cells in there called tumor-associated macrophages and immune-resistant monocytic cells and such that create a milieu which blocks even the strongest immune T cell attack. And we're working on trying to reprogram the tumor bed to resist that. And that's what we do now. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Do you have any other thoughts you'd like to leave with the physicians listening in today?
Well, I just think that it's important to embrace the new therapy for cancer, which is immunotherapy. This is different than the sort of advertisements we see on television all the time for these new immunotherapies. It's not, and they're valid, and that's a fine thing. But what I'm saying is, it's just the beginning. But we need to have the same kind of faith and long-term belief in our immune system, because that is the ultimate means of addressing cancer. Because of the fact that the problem with cancer is, as any oncologist knows, it's never gone.
Yeah.
It's never gone. There's always a few cells left. There's always a few there. And nothing but the immune system with memory T cells can be there to continuously block the recurrence of the disorder. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wagner, for taking time to share with us.
You're welcome.
All of your research and wealth of knowledge.
I don't know that. Thank you very much. Thank you.